Now we're playing with some yeah. So before we get into the stream, I'm gonna do a little 5-minute wait period. And yeah. This will be fun. This will be fun. So let me see what's going on. There we go. I am checking all my streams. There's that. Do I sound good? Yeah, okay, we sound good. Hey. Oh, man. I am talking, and yeah, this is interesting. So I've faddled around with a live show before, and yeah. Pin that message there, and then let's go to Twitch real quick. Haha, Twitch. So I do a little 5-minute pre-stream, I guess you would call it. And
Things grip onto the aisle. That's a big.
I'm just going through everything, making sure everything sounds good, and it should. Everything looks good. And
Things grip onto the aisle.
Yep, it does sound good. Hey. All right, let's get the chat pulled up, and we gotta go in now. YouTube has somebody watching. I think that's me. So yeah, great fights last night, huh? Goodness gracious. I was going to talk about Gary Russell Jr. tonight also, but yeah, it's not looking good. He lost actually, which was interesting. And yeah, so we are here not because we have to be, but because we want to be. Oh yeah. Let me go back to my Twitter. We got 5 people watching on Twitter. Twitter, sound off. What is up? Y'all make some comments too. Tell me what you think. Let's see where we at on the stream. How much longer we got before we get everything started? 2 more minutes. Questions after the pod and interview with Ocho. Let's see, can I pin that? No, I can't. Huh. Oh well. Yeah, so we're going to be talking about UFC 270 today. And we're going to be talking about, that's it really. I'll be doing the podcast live. I won't answer questions then because it's a little harder. But, yeah. No, Sarah from Linktree. Ugh. Let's see what the chat looking like on Restream. Yeah, I don't know why the Twitter doesn't show up in my Restream chat, so I'm going to have to pull that up separate, I guess. Which kind of sucks. It actually really sucks, to be honest with you. And I doubt anybody will ask questions, but we're going to try anyway, so. Yeah. So, 45 seconds, and we're going to get this sucker on the road. I ain't going to be able to do that. I got to pull up my notes. So, yeah, Twitter, you guys are out. Sadly. Because, yeah. Few more seconds and we'll be done. 15 seconds and we're starting the show. A little warm up. I need to do like an intro screen is what I need to do. That would be the idea. I've seen people do that before. A 5-minute like little loading bar. Let's go. Well, that's ugly. What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 223 of the Fight Library. I am your host, Blaine Henry, and today we are talking UFC 270. Francis N'Gannou, NCAA's Ciryl Gane. Who saw that coming, right? Incredible night of fights. Honestly, I wasn't big on the fight card, but who showed up and how they showed up was fantastic. I absolutely loved everything I saw from everyone on that card. So shout out to the entire card from Jasmine all the way down to Francis. So yeah, guys, let's go ahead and dive on in. Before we do, again, I'm your host, Blaine Henry. If you enjoyed this episode, drop a sub, drop a review, drop a follow. Whatever you're listening on, drop a that. Because that makes it that much better for me. It helps me out, and it helps make the show grow. And that's what I want, to make the show grow. And that's what we're going to do. So, yeah, that. Follow me on Twitter. You'll see it pop up right here in this little corner right here. Every now and then, every few minutes. Blaine Henry TFL. Twitch, YouTube, you name it. I'm there on it. I got it all. TikTok. I got a TikTok. I got my own Reddit. Yeah, look it up. Anyways, so that, and if you want to support the podcast a little bit more, Patreon is always a good way to do it. I have new stuff coming every Monday, including a new article coming out called From Good to Great, Francis N'Gannou, on his grit and determination. It's not technical as much as it is philosophical, but it's fun. $5 a month, you get access to all that, plus the previous, and you also get, the past work and the future work. And that's really all that matters, right? So, let's go ahead and dive on into UFC 270 because it's awesome. I'm going to start from the top. Francis N'Gannou and Ciryl Gane. Everybody thought Ciryl Gane was going to come in here. I say everybody, not true. I thought Ciryl Gane was going to come in here and absolutely dismantle Francis. How's he gonna box with a kickboxer who's been doing it for years? This was my thought process, right? That was a bad idea. That was a very bad idea because, the first two rounds, Ciryl Gane did his thing and he did it well. I'm talking he completely ran through Francis in those first two rounds. Just his head movement was on point, and we saw a lot of that. And early on we saw Gane was planning on mixing things up. So he shot the double, pushed Francis against the fence. And a really cool moment in round one, he caught him with the Yair Rodriguez elbow, the one that he knocked Korean Zombie out with. That was in the center of the octagon, but it was still like we saw the difference in type of striking that Ciryl Gane and Francis N'Gannou had, and it was night and day difference. I was correct in saying that Francis won't be able to stand with Ciryl Gane. I was incorrect in not thinking about the idea that, hey, Francis might wrestle, and he wrestled. And he wrestled, and he wrestled. But with about 30 seconds left, Francis is eating the jab. Gane is just keeping his hands down, like, just disrespectful. It was beautiful. I mean, it was a class, just a beautiful, striking performance from Ciryl Gane, especially early the first two rounds. 30 seconds left. Francis was looking tired. He was looking actually gassed, like, wow, I texted my buddy, Francis is cooked, and he was not cooked, even though the second round would, show us that. Round two, Gane, he's showing hip feints and just trying to get Francis to kind of bite on things. Francis was biting on everything. He was plotting, no jabs, looking for bombs at this point in the fight. And it was like, this is going to be a long night from Francis N'Gannou. I can already see it happening. And it wasn't. It was just a regular, night. Interesting performance for sure in those first two rounds from Ciryl Gane. Hooks making Francis stumble. Gane also, he utilized a shoulder roll a little bit against Francis. Kind of moving his head, getting his shoulder in the way, eating the brunt of those shots on his shoulder. Great. So early in round three, the first real big moment in round three, Gane gets his kick caught by Francis N'Gannou and wham! Slams him to the ground. It was absolutely beautiful. It was glorious. How can you not like Francis N'Gannou slamming someone on the ground. That's so awesome. And, he's keeping Ciryl on the ground, but he's not getting many shots off. And I was like, does he not know what to do? Or is he... And it turns out it's really just Ciryl Gane doing a good job of not letting Francis work on the ground. He did that the rest of the fight, too. Not a lot of punches were thrown from Francis. Eventually, Gane gets to the fence, and he gets up. Wall walks up. Good job. They're in the clinch still, side by side. Wizard kick from Francis was really cool. I like seeing that. He kicked the feet out from under him. Like, whoa, Judo Francis, what is going on here? But eventually, Gane gets up, and he's pressing him against the fence again, and boom, spinning back elbow, and that thing landed clean. I'm talking about uber nice, clean. It was perfect. It really was pure perfection. I was ecstatic to see how well he did on that. So Francis, he shot another takedown. Gane got the Kimura, but he couldn't. Usually you don't finish the Kimura in MMA anymore. It's more of a sweep that he's looking for. Gane was probably looking for both. It didn't work. Round 4, leg kicks from both. Francis gets another takedown off of catching Gane's kick, and it's like, okay, same thing. And Gane was just getting wrestled by Francis. One interesting moment in that fight, Ciryl Gane was sitting on the ground and Francis knees him. I'm like, uh-oh, that's not good. He's about to get DQ'd. It was in the chest. I was like, oh, that was close. So really happy to see that Francis didn't get DQ'd there, because good God, can you imagine if we had another champion via DQ? That would be horrible. That would be absolutely dreadful, if you want to be completely honest. Yeah. No, thank you. So round 5, Gane comes out with some urgency. He knows, oh, wait, I'm down on the cards, and I've got to win this. And he does. And he gets the leg with a level change and a takedown. And Gane's in half guard, and that's where I want to see him do his work. But Ciryl Gane, I thought it was a heel hook at first. It really wasn't. Francis literally swept him. So Gane gets his feet together. He has the whizzer. Sorry, my cat's meowing at the window. He has the whizzer. And I'm like, okay, well, what's going on here? And next thing you know, Francis kicks the legs out from under Ciryl, and he ends up on top. Ciryl Gane goes for the leg lock, doesn't get it in the transition. And he gave up his back, and Francis just rode the top position out for the rest of the fight. Good fight, all in all. But I would have liked to see Ciryl Gane get the belt, but I was wrong on that one. I was wrong on this next one. Brandon Moreno versus Deiveson Figueiredo 3. We need a 4th fight. That's just it. It's just how it's gonna be. A very different Deiveson Figueiredo this fight. Normally he's a wild man. This time I could see the Henry Cejudo out in him. He kept his hands high. He fought smart for most of the fight. He fought smart, I should say. He wasn't smart the entire time, but he early on, especially, you looked at it. The leg kicks were a big part of what he was doing, and Moreno, he would check some of the leg kicks, especially when they were naked. But Figueiredo says, oh well, I'm going to set them up. So when you set up the leg kicks, they work. Surprise, right? I mean, you can't just throw a naked leg kick, or you can, and they get checked by people like Brandon Moreno. Figueiredo shoots, and Moreno hooks and goes around and gets the takedown. Actually, no, shoots on Moreno. I'm sorry. And Moreno Grambies and gets up, which was really cool. We saw a lot of jabbing from Brandon Moreno this fight. Obviously, that's one of his biggest game plans. And Figgy was moving his head well. So I was happy to see he's not content with eating shots. He's putting in the work to become better. Check hook was there each time he exits a clinch for Brandon Moreno. And he would land it several times, and they would just smile at each other. Moreno putting a lot of volume on it, and Figgy got popped with his hands down. That was an instinctive thing from Figueiredo. Figgy started slowing down slightly in round 2, and Moreno was getting through with the jabs, but Figgy just has some power with him, and he was using it wisely this fight, and that was different. He wasn't as wild. He was more contained, and he mixed the martial arts. That's a masterful idea. I never would have thought of that, honestly, to mix the martial arts. What is going on? Anyways, continuing, like, round 3 starts, and Moreno runs in for a flying knee, and Figgy just gets the body locking down. Moreno got to the fence and got up. These guys are scrambling. A left hand from Figueiredo wobbles Moreno. Another big left, and Figgy's just starting to really take off here. And the entire night, he kept throwing the calf kick. And I hate talking about it every week, but it's true that the calf kick is, like, more important. So you're seeing the jab, and the calf kick is becoming a jab of things. You know, it's the longest strike you have. He keeps going with the calf kick the entire fight. Moreno can't stand up. You know, he's falling all over the place, and it's a rough look for him. It really was. But I enjoyed watching them to work. Spinning back kick to the leg. He did this a couple times in the fight. He's throwing a spinning back kick to the leg, and it landed a couple times. Interesting strike. I was like, okay. More wrestling. Moreno in round 5 came out with pressure. You know, body lock. He got Figgy down. Figueiredo got up. Big straight from Figueiredo knocked down Moreno. Moreno gets up. Then the two just like decide, I'm going to brawl for the last 25 seconds. And it was like, oh my gosh, somebody's about to get knocked out. And Moreno was getting the best of him in these exchanges. Anyways, Figueiredo gets the belt back, which is really cool. That means they have to fight again because they're 1-1 and a draw for the first fight. Crazy. Good fight. Michel Pereira versus Andre Fialho. I've interviewed Fialho a couple times. I was happy to see him get in there. He looked good against Pereira. Uses jab well. Andre has a lot of power. His last 3 fights ahead of this have been first round knockouts and then a second round knockout in his 4 fights back against James Vick in XFC. So Andre, he got a shot, but man, just Pereira was really on that night, and I was happy to see him, you know, show restraint with still being exciting. Saw like the Superman punch, the crazy spinning kicks and stuff like that. Fialho is throwing heat the entire fight, but it's just Pereira's just too good. I mean, he's just a bit too much for Andre Fialho. Not much to say about it, really. It was just Pereira doing what he normally does now. Leone Varcellas versus Victor Henry was interesting. Varcellas is like one of the best fighters in the UFC for a round, right? He's not the best fighter the whole fight, but he's good for a little bit. I just like, I don't know, man. He's old now. He fights like he's old. Victor Henry, no disrespect to him. He kept the pace up, kept Varcellas on the back foot from pretty much round 2 on, and went out there and got the victory. So I was happy to see him do his thing. 2 in a row for Varcellas, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. There's not much you can do about that, right? Last thing I want to talk about, Dela Madolina versus Pete Rodriguez. Madolina is probably my highlight of the night, honestly. This dude, his UFC debut coming off the Contender Series. He's light on his feet, and he switches stances. And he jabs. Whoa. Rodriguez, he goes to the body with 2 hooks. Oh, we saw that in, I forgot to mention that in the Figueiredo fight. Figgy, at one point, he goes body hook, then he comes up top. So, pop, 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 pop. It was just working his way up. It was beautiful. Rodriguez tried to do that. Lead uppercut to the body. Jack was just in the zone, though. Throwing straight punches from both stances. And straight punches will beat hooking punches every time. It's just straight line, right? Makes sense. Madolina was hiding behind the shoulder roll. Well, just getting pieced up with the jab. And then Madolina slips a shot. He pivots out and then jabs and left crosses on Pete Rodriguez and knocks him out in round 1. Absolutely beautiful finish. I mean, glorious finish. It was lovely. And yeah, I'm excited to see more Jack Dela. He was real fun, real good, and I'd like to speak with him one day. Anyways, guys, thank you all for tuning in. This will be repurposed and put on podcast, but if you want to tune in next Sunday, we'll be doing the same thing if you want to catch it live. So, yeah. Anyways, catch me on everywhere, Blaine Hitter TFL and Fight Library. So, yeah, check that out. And, yeah. So, let's go ahead and book it over to my pre-recorded interview with Ojo Peterson.
Go.
Ojo Peterson joins the show today. He is fighting Julian Erosa in a couple weeks on February 5th, coming hot off of a big win over Chase Hooper. I'm sorry. Steven, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. Just training for this fight in the gym every day, just grinding, getting ready, man.
So the last time we talked, it was right after the spinning back fist. And you had a long layoff. You broke I think it was your elbow, you had told me.
Yeah, I had elbow bone chips lodged in
That's
my
right, yeah.
For about 6 years leading up to that point. And it had gotten to be such a hassle in training. Honestly, I didn't think I could keep going. Like, just extending my arm was excruciating. And, trying to sleep at night was a problem in itself. So, yeah, it was time to, get that cleaned up. And, that led to me having to take a little layoff.
Man, what was it like not being able to do what you love? Because I know you're just a guy who loves to fight. What was that like?
Yeah, I had to really occupy my mind elsewhere. I'm a coach as well, so
yeah.
that was a good outlet for me. I was able to still go corner the guys, coach some of my students, and really, just my mind elsewhere. Really, focus on other things in life. We're fighters, like, down to the core, but this is only a part of what we do. So, life has to be fulfilling outside of fighting, just as it is, with fighting.
You're absolutely right. So you come back, you fought Chase Hooper. What was it like with him on the? Because I was pulling for you, man. Because I'm like, I like Steven. And you're going to the ground with this guy. I was like, he's a nut. But then, like, with him on the, because I was like, I was pulling for you, man. Because how you got the win was just beating him up.
Yeah, I mean, people really underestimate my ground game. I feel like I should get a lot more credit for my jiu-jitsu. I've fought, multiple black belts. Matt Bassett was black belt. I was all over him on the ground. I fought Leandro Higo and almost submitted him twice. So, the ground game's never been an issue for me. I don't see why people counted me out on the ground in that fight. That was really his only way to win, and I felt like it was a statement to be able to take him to where he was strong and beat him. He had a lot of hype building him up until he lost to Caceres. I mean, these undefeated fighters, you can build them up to be unbeatable,
right?
Fight the right guys, and Caceres exposed him on the feet, and then I exposed him on the ground. So now I think he's got some growing to do and some learning to do, and I'd like to see him bounce back.
Yeah, he's a very good fighter. He's got some promise. He needs some work. But what's the difference? He's a jiu-jitsu, just a master, really. He really is. But it's different when you get into the cage, and I think that's what you showed him. It's not jiu-jitsu as like ADCC, as you're fighting. You're also getting punched. It's a lot different. What do you think? Do you think it was strength? It was your skills. It was a combination of that and punches. What was it that was different from what do you think he was used to?
More of my just grit. On the ground, I don't just play game. I go in, I take the fight everywhere. I'm going to be throwing shoulder strikes, elbows, hammer fists. With it, I have to be really careful not to overextend myself on any of these punches or blows because he was very tricky. So I had to kind of play that game a little bit. But, for the most part, I feel like it was just, I'm slick on the ground as well. And I have seen everything that he brought to the table, and I was able to counter it effectively. And then just that extra little violence makes it hard to do what you want to do on the bottom.
So you're going in, you're fighting Julian Erosa. That's a really fun fight, bro. I mean, you two guys both bring it. What are you expecting in this fight from an entertainment standpoint?
Man, there's no way this fight's not entertaining. I mean, Julian Erosa, he's got 26 wins. I got 19 wins. I don't know who else is on the card with more fights than either of us. We're both, really experienced. We bring a good fight. He's got a couple really good wins. He got that flying knee knockout over Nate Landwehr, and then his last win was like, he pulled that slick Bravo choke off.
He does that often too.
Yeah, he's done that a few times. So obviously that's something that I've studied going into the fight and don't plan to fall victim to. But you got to be aware of these things, and that leads to an exciting fight. Obviously, I can't scramble or sit in these bad positions. I have to, avoid these positions where I can potentially go there. So I think it'll make for a good brawl fight. I don't think he wants to go to the ground with me necessarily. I think it might be more opportunistic, but on the ground, I should have a strength advantage. And then, my jiu-jitsu is amongst the best as far as MMA goes. So it's kind of tricky where this fight's got to take place. I think most of it's going to be on the feet. It's going to be a banger, and that's what the fans like to see.
Is it tempting to be like, I'm gonna choke him out with the Bravo choke?
Nah, man. That's not one of my. I mean, if it's there, I'll take it, obviously. But
right
with Chase, that was one thing. I wanted to get him with a heel hook, and it was just a minor little adjustment. When I look back, oh man, I could have got it, man, if I would have just done this. And I missed it in the transition. But no, that's definitely not one of my go-tos. I would rather get him with something that I've done before. I don't want to say too much, but I got some really good submissions up my sleeves that and it's some I haven't seen yet. So I got a couple that I've made up that I can very well pull off in the octagon.
So let's talk about Fortis for a second, man. The gym came out of nowhere, it seems like, and you have some of the best fighters in the world. You got Moreno, Jackson. You've got obviously you. One of my favorites is Diego. Spawn, Neil. I mean, the list goes on and on with great talent that y'all have there. What's the culture like? Because you've got, Darren Williams owns the gym. What's it like? Yeah.
Coach Safe owns most of the gym, but he partnered up with Darren Williams and kind of helped blow it up, I guess. And just having Darren involved is really cool. Darren trains with us. Darren comes to strength and conditioning with us. He's one of the guys, so it's cool to have him around. He's a high level athlete, but like the culture is just, we come in, we put in the work, and we're a family. Most of us have been there from the start. We came from Octagon MMA. We had an MMA team over there, and we were kind of ostracized as the grunts and the brutes. And we eventually Coach Safe opened up Fortis MMA with Darren, and then we basically built the place. Me and a few of the other guys put in the mats, put in the bag racks, put in the cages. Carried the statue of Popeye all the way up the stairs. There's 3 of us, and it was like a 500-pound statue somehow. But all these memories of just building the gym from the ground up. And then I headlined the first LFA card in Dallas soon after we first opened the gym, and which many of the other guys fought on as well. And then we just continued to grow from there. We built up quite a great amateur program as well, but we've gone from maybe 20 pros to, I'd say, 40, 50, and 20 guys in the UFC. So it's incredible.
Y'all have such a great depth of roster talent, I guess you would say. Darren Williams, obviously, he had his exhibition bout. Man, I could tell he took that fight serious, like he was a professional fighter.
No doubt, man. He sees all of us training for our fights, so it was like just follow the map, follow the game plan. He did what he needed to do, and then when he went in there, he was like, well, man, it's nothing like training. Chaos. You don't know what's going on in there. It's true. Like when you get in the fight, that's a whole art in itself, because you gotta. He's used to competing on a high level and composing himself in front of a crowd. Playing basketball and now playing golf, but fighting's a lot more chaotic than either of those sports.
Yeah, it's a little different. Do y'all have a big old picture of the Frank Gore meme in the gym yet?
No, we don't put up too many pictures in the gym. We got some paintings of Volley and some of the great martial arts fathers, but none of the actual fighters or none of the team. We kind of keep it real clean and humble in there.
I like that. So tell me about the sweatshirt, dude. Is that a one-off thing, or can people get a hold of one of those?
Yeah, I mean, you can go to my Instagram at Ocho, DM me. I try to keep them exclusive, but I'll be selling these for about $80. So inflation's going up. We gotta make it where we can. So if I'm gonna make you a hoodie, I've only made about I'd say under 10 of these just for sponsors and close friends. But
I love it.
The clothing business isn't as lucrative as training people. So I'll stick with what makes the money.
Yeah, you got to make it exclusive. That's the art of rarity, I think. So before I let you go, last question. Why should everyone tune in to you and Julian fight on February 5th?
Do you not like to be entertained? I mean, if you like entertainment, this fight embodies entertainment in a nutshell.
All right, Maximus, I hear you. Are you not entertained?
You will be. I mean, you can't watch an Ocho fight and not be entertained. So I don't believe I've laid any goose eggs. I go out there and put on a show every time, one way or another. You're going to enjoy the fight.
Man, I appreciate you coming on, Steven. Where can everybody find you on social media?
Yeah, follow me on Instagram and Twitter at 8ocho08 and then at Ocho_TV. Check out my YouTube channel, Ocho TV 08. So it's youtube.com/Ocho TV 08. We're dropping tons of dope content, bi-weekly or twice a week. We're dropping new videos. So check that out, Ocho TV on YouTube. And real quick, I want to give a shout out to my sponsors, CWL.
Hold on 1 second. You broke up. Who's your sponsors again?
All right, real quick, got to give a shout out to my sponsors, CWL.Law, Hutch's Barbecue, Limitless Sport Picks, New Lifespan, Chandler Cabinets, and Dank Vodka.
I love it. And look, that barbecue place, next time I'm in Austin, I'm hitting it up.
Awesome. Come by. It's in Dallas. So, yeah, come by Dallas. Hutchins Barbecue, the best barbecue in Texas.
I love it. Steven, I'm pulling for you, man. I'm going to get all your social media in the... All right. So, yeah. Thanks to Ocho. Thank you for everybody who tuned in. This is actually a pretty cool format I'm working on. I've been wanting to do live. Anyway, so I'm going to go in. I got a question from, not really a question, but a comment from Bruce Bobtrotter that I do want to touch on. He said, Andre Fialho made $12,000 for that war against Pereira. This is just sad. The fighter pay situation needs to change. And then he said, that's effed up, dudes. I agree. I like Andre. Like I said, I've talked to him twice, 2 interviews, and he's a really cool guy. He needs to get paid more, just like everybody else in the UFC needs to get paid more. And then Bruce said, unionize. Somebody's got to do it. I agree. But I think the Ali Act, yeah, you're right, Bruce. I'm sorry. $12K for putting your goddamn life on the line. Come on, bro. That is, these guys are putting their health on the line for what, $12,000? Dude, I make more than that, and I don't really put my health on the line in my day job. What is going on here, right? So, yeah, it doesn't make sense. These guys need to unionize, but we need the government to intervene. Honestly, I'll keep the government out of my business is my mantra, but at the same time, they do need the government's help here. They do need the Ali Act enforced, and they need to unionize. The Ali Act will take that and put the wheels on that because, I mean, come on, man. They got to get paid. They've got to get paid. $12,000. It's a hot issue. Francis made $600,000 last night. What? He's the heavyweight champion of the world. Meanwhile, we have Gary Russell Jr., who fought with one arm last night and made probably $4 million in a fight against somebody who's 15-0. Come on, man. Come on, bro. It really is. It's crap. It's crap is what it is, and I don't like it, but, it is what it is. These guys, they need to get it together. And then you got guys like Sam Alvey who are like, oh, come on, man. I can't. Does 12 even cover the cost of his training camp? Yeah, I mean, well, I'll say this with Andre. It was like a week's notice fight, so he didn't really have a training camp for this fight. I do know that because Pereira was supposed to fight, I forget who. He was supposed to fight somebody else, but it didn't happen. But yeah, no, how does a fighter like Andre Fialho, who will have a training camp his next fight card, how does he profit off of that? He doesn't. So he's going to have to make sure he keeps winning to keep in the UFC to make $24,000. It is junk, man. These guys, they shouldn't. If you're in the UFC, if you're in Bellator 1, PFL, you shouldn't have to work a second job. These promotions have major contracts with everyone. UFC's got ESPN, Bellator's with Showtime. One championship is, I don't know who they're with in Singapore, but I know they're one with Bleacher Report in the United States. I guarantee you they got money. Pay these guys. And I'm not saying Bellator and One. I'm not really calling them out for this, but I don't know. I don't get it. PFL's like, oh, we pay the fighters $1 million. That's if they're champions. I mean, I don't know what. It's bad when BKFC is outpaying fighters. A bare knuckle organization. It's an embarrassment to have your champion, heavyweight champion of the world, having to be a full-time firefighter to get by. Come on, bro. Yeah, Stipe you're absolutely right. In all fairness, I think Stipe liked being a firefighter, though. I don't think it was it was more of a want for him instead of that. But, you're right. There shouldn't be fighters like that. Like, there are few and far between, a handful of fighters who can afford, not really a handful, there's a bunch of fighters who can afford to not work, but a lot of them need to work. Most of the fighters in the UFC, I'd say a good 75% have to work. These guys, they got to get it together. They've got to do it all. Anyways, that's going to be it for today, guys. Bruce, I appreciate you, man. Bonjour boys, I appreciate you all. I love everyone, and I like this live format. I might try a different time next week. Earlier in the morning, I don't know if that's the best, but a live podcast on Sundays. Eventually, I'll get to Wednesdays. Again, thank you, everyone. Drop a sub, review, comment, thumbs up, whatever you're watching on. I am Blaine Henry, and I will catch you all next week. Also, I'm sorry, before I let you go, new podcast out on Wednesday talking Strickland and Hermanson. God help me. Later.